Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Jesse Mayfield. And I am coming to you live from Daly Field in Boston, Massachusetts. Here to bring you live coverage of this New England Football League Summer Semi-Pro contest between the visiting Vermont Ravens and the hosting Metrowest Golden Badgers. This should be a fun one today, a potentially tight contest here. Both teams coming into this, one with a record of 1 win and 3 losses each. The Badgers defeating the Ravens in Vermont in Week 1 of this summer 2025 season by a final of 32 to 21. And here we go for the rematch here in Massachusetts. Should make for quite the special game and should make for quite the great broadcast. And on the note of the broadcast, we got another special treat as once again I am not alone on the broadcast today. Some of you might remember that the last game I covered a few weeks back, I had a guest commentator with me. I've got a different guest commentator with me today. Another young aspiring broadcaster, a rising sophomore at Brookline High School. My color commentator for today is Sam Lowenstein. Sam, thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me on. First football game that we've gotten the chance to do together here at the Golden Badgers, facing off against the Ravens. And I think the keys to the game for the Badgers in this one, they're going to have to defend Aiden Stilson. He had 2 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, only passing touchdowns given up by the Golden Badgers in that matchup when they beat the Ravens. And then for the Ravens, their main key is they're going to have to get passing consistency. Their quarterback, Cooper Simmons, he only had a 37% completion percentage on 6 completions. They're also going to have to establish the running game. I think, Jesse, this is going to be a good matchup between these two teams.
Absolutely. Should be a lot of fun here, folks. And remember, as always, if you enjoy this live stream, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all things Golden Badgers football. And if there's anything you'd like to say, we always encourage, audience participation, either audience participation in the live chat here on YouTube. And I know that, as usual, the Wi-Fi connection here at Daly Field is not great. It's a little better than usual so far here today, but that's still far from ideal. So I know the video might be choppy at points. The audio of our commentary should still come through pretty well, so we're going to do our best to keep you informed of anything that you might miss due to the Wi-Fi issues. And as always, I am recording this broadcast while I am live streaming it, and I will be able to upload the fully recorded version of this broadcast that won't have any choppy video. It'll be full, clean, and smooth from beginning to end. That will be uploaded on this channel later tonight, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. We can see the officials at midfield getting set up. We are scheduled for a 5 p.m. start time here at Daly Field, and we're about 6 minutes away from that. We'll see if we start on time. And we'll see what this game has in store for us. Sam, you talked a little bit about the last game between these two teams. You talked a little about how Vermont got their scoring, and of course the Badgers getting their 5 touchdowns, courtesy of 3 passing touchdowns from quarterback Marquise Hughes to wide receiver Jonathan Joseph, 1 rushing touchdown by Hughes, the quarterback, and then 1 rushing touchdown by Kevon Doolin off a pitch from Marquise Hughes. So Hughes played such a critical role in the Badgers offense, and from what we've heard, he's actually going to be late arrival to this game. So it'll be interesting to see how the Badgers offense handles things without him, although their 1 touchdown that they got in their most recent game at the New London County Silverbacks last week, they got on a passing touchdown from backup quarterback Ray Kirkland to wide receiver Kyle Arias. So they've shown some ability to perform without their starting signal caller, and depending on when he's able to get here, we might have to see some guys step up that way again.
100% Jesse Arias, 91 yards on 4 receptions in that last game between these two sides, I think the Badgers are still going to get off to a decent start, but they're going to have to establish the running game early on with Hughes' absence. He was excellent in the game between these two sides, an 82% completion percentage, those 3 touchdowns, and 271 yards, an explosive performance from him.
Absolutely. And an explosive performance as well from Jonathan Joseph, who is here. You can see number 15 there at the bottom of your screen very briefly there. He had those 3 receiving touchdowns, 3 long receiving touchdowns in that game at Vermont, as he was able to get behind the secondary repeatedly in that game. And then, of course, the most recent game that we covered here at Daly Field in a home game against the NLC Silverbacks, the Badgers got 1 touchdown, that one on a rush from Jonathan Joseph, as they kind of mix things up by having him take some direct snaps for a number of big runs. And, of course, we also know how dangerous he can be on the return game. Jonathan Joseph, the pure definition of an athlete, with what he is able to do with his speed, his agility, and he's dangerous with the ball in his hands.
For sure, Jesse. I think the Badgers, they're going to have to make sure to target Joseph early in the game, because despite having Hughes out in that last matchup that they played, the Badgers, Jonathan Joseph, he still had 2 receptions for 62 yards. It's still a solid performance.
Absolutely. So we are just awaiting the teams to come out for the opening coin toss. And as always, like I said, we encourage audience participation in the live chat. And, one of the more important things I like to encourage my audience to do is to correct me if I am getting any names wrong, whether that be that the roster was listed incorrectly on the website for either side, or if I am mispronouncing any names. I'm not a proud man, so if my first guess on the pronunciation of a player's name turns out to be wrong, don't feel like you're being rude or burdening me or anything. You're helping me if you give me those corrections. I want to give these men the best coverage that I possibly can, and to me, an important part of that does mean getting their names right. So, don't hesitate to correct me on the pronunciation of player names. As they're pushing back the soccer nets, getting them out of the back end of the end zone, because this is also, like many football fields, also used as a soccer field as well, as this is a frequently used home field for Simmons College here at the college level here in Boston, Massachusetts, and also for the Brighton High School Bengals as well. So a lot of teams getting a lot of use out of Daly Field here at this spot in the Brighton area of Boston, right next to the Charles River over on our left, which we're grateful for the occasional nice breeze that we get blowing through on these hot summer days. Especially a summer like this one. It's been a scorcher this year, Sam.
It's been brutal, Jesse, especially this last week. We've had a lot of 90s. We've talked about this on some of the Brookline baseball broadcasts. It's not 100 and stupid level, but it has been quite hot for Massachusetts standards.
Absolutely. Yeah, the places like Arizona and, and the places around the equator, or like down south like Australia, they can keep the 100 and stupid degrees.
Also Las Vegas.
And Las Vegas too. They can keep their 100 and stupid temperatures. I'm perfectly fine just being lightly toasted in the 80s and 90s, relatively speaking anyway. All right, so we have we're still waiting on things, so let's take a look at which players we can see along the sideline here. I'm going to read them through as I see them. I see number 7, Joe Lyman. Number 87, Javon Furtado on the sideline, although I believe he is still recovering from a torn Achilles, so I don't think he'll be playing today. Number 65, John Waschella. Number 28, Ty Holly Sr. Number 4, Keith Campbell. Number 0, Shane Rizzoli. Number 70, Roberto Perez. Number 15, Jonathan Joseph, we mentioned before. Number 17, Deshaun Brown. Number 71, John Sutherland. Number 20, Kyle Hudson. Number 22, George Tate. Number 59, Felipe Ferreira. Number 90, Bobby I. Jones, a recent addition to the team. Number 18, Eli Plaza. Number 25, Kyle Mitchell. And I think, and there's one more who I can't quite see. It's his numbers being blocked by the fence, but I think that's number 11, Ray Kirkland, who will likely be taking the opening offensive snaps for the Badgers. Those are the players I do see. There might be some more. Yeah, there's a couple more. Number 16, Shane Bushy, and number 23, Cuba Morales. So those are the Badgers players I'm seeing so far. Like I said, we're expecting to see number 3, Marquise Hughes, showing up at some point during the game. And that's who we've got so far for the Golden Badgers. And like I said, if there's, any names I am pronouncing wrong or any numbers that I have incorrect that you know about as a fan, please let me know. And especially for any Vermont Raven fans that might be catching this broadcast, as we'll be narrating their players as well. A little bit harder to see all the jersey numbers on their side, so I think I'm just going to read out the roster as quick as I can as we await the opening coin toss. Based on the roster I got from the New England Football League website, here's the roster for the Vermont Ravens. Number 0 is George Campbell. Number 2, Abdi. Number 3, Akeem Williams. Number 5, Daniel Vara. Number 6, Jonathan Wright. Number 7, Drew Knapp. Number 8, Hector Maldonado. Number 10, Brett Walton. Number 14, Clay Torres. Number 16, Cooper Simmons. Number 17, Harley Vorse. Number 18, Aiden Stilson. Number 20, Roy Rose. Number 21, Damian Q. Number 24, Casey Payette. Number 25, Ryan Winter. Number 27, Camden Benoit. Number 30, River Poulin. Number 32, Chris Reeves. Number 33, Norman Cole. Number 42, Jonathan Rodriguez. Number 44, Jordan Pastrana. Number 45, Anderson Sanon. Number 51, Kevin Keeling. Number 53, Carter Davis. Number 54, Jonathan Post. Number 55, Brian Catan. Number 56, Lloyd White. Number 59, Steve Carr. Number 60, Xavier Rose. Number 62, Mikey Emmons. Number 63, Paul Winters. Number 67, Chris Emmons. Number 69, Rodney Dukes. Number 70, Isaac Bolduck. Number 72, Justin Nappy Thompson. Number 77, Zach Heyer. Number 81, Owen Montoffre. Number 88, Heath Armstrong. And number 92, Nick Hansen. So that's the full online roster for the Vermont Ravens. Like anything with semi-pro football, some guys aren't going to be able to make it. So don't expect I'll be calling out all of those names today, but just making sure I have all my bases covered for them. As with the Badgers, I was mostly just focusing on, okay, who do I see that's here, because it's a lot easier to see on the near side benches, as there's a couple more I didn't mention before that do appear to be here. Number 5, Jean Janvier. And I think earlier I saw number 40, Gilson Depina as well. Again, still just waiting for this one to get underway, as we've got some notes in the live chat to start us off. Adrian Fricky saying, "Go Badgers. Glad to see everyone on the field." And from Joanna Selikoff Fricky, looks like a beautiful day for a game from out here in 100 and stupid land. It's actually only 105 degrees here in Las Vegas today. Over 110 degrees, we really begin to feel it. No, I refuse.
Well, Jesse,
I refuse.
The thing with that is 105 in Vegas feels like maybe 90 here, maybe less because it's a dry heat, whereas we feel the humidity. Like 90 in Florida is different.
I don't care. I still refuse. I still absolutely refuse.
it's still hot, but they're used to it.
Yeah. Okay, we got some players out for the opening coin toss from the Badgers side. I see Cuba Morales, I believe Ray Kirkland, Ty Hawley Sr., Shane Bushy, and Kyle Hudson out there at midfield as some players now coming out for the Ravens. Amongst them, I see number 3, Akeem Williams, number 6, Jonathan Wright, number 20, Roy Rose, and number 16, Cooper Simmons. The teams shake hands, and we'll soon have our opening coin toss as we get ready for the opening kickoff.
Well, Simmons, he had a great game against the Badgers, as we talked about earlier here in the broadcast, and also the Ravens. They really limited the New England Black Panthers defense or quarterback Jason Prophet, 5 for 10, 2 picks and no touchdown passes. Although Prophet did do well on the ground, getting a touchdown, so be important for the Badgers to do well on offense.
And the opening coin toss was won by the Badgers, and they have elected to defer to the second half. So the Ravens will be receiving the opening kickoff, as it looks like the Badgers will be playing the first quarter from our left, the Ravens from our right. Here we go as we get set for this one. Gonna play a quick word from one of our sponsors as the teams get set up. Opening kickoff soon to come.
Hi, my name is Cam from Cam's Crochet Creations. I'm here at this Hall and Green every Sunday from 10 to 1, and I sell bags, bucket hats, bandanas, stress blobs, dinosaurs, and more, so come check it out.
All right. There's a word from one of our sponsors. We'll have more during the quarter breaks, but just getting a quick one in there while we can before we start this one off. Badgers lining up to send away the opening kickoff. I did not see kicker Eduardo Valesio among the players here today for the Badgers, so we'll see who is handling kickoffs for them. Based on who's holding the ball, it looks like it'll be number 5, Jean Janvier. As the Ravens have 2 players back deep, looks like numbers 3 and 5. So that's number 3, Akeem Williams, and number 5, Daniel Vara, back as the deep return men for the Vermont Ravens. Janvier setting up to kick this one away. All right, there's the opening whistle for this first quarter. The Metrowest Golden Badgers against the Vermont Ravens in a rematch of Week 1. Here we go in the New England Football League. Janvier's kick floats over, and it's taken there. And running up the middle is Williams, and he gets dragged down close to the 40-yard line.
Well, on that play, the Golden Badgers were able sort of to penetrate around the kick returner, mostly coming from the left side there, and they're able to control him before he got much up the field.
And so it'll be 1st and 10 for the Ravens from the 40-yard line. And we'll see how their offense handles things, like you said, like we've been talking about, Sam. This was a high-scoring performance from both teams the last time they faced off. 32-21 was the final in favor of the Badgers. Since then, the Ravens have matched that scoring total only once in last week's win over the Black Panthers, their first win of the season. Badgers have yet to match their scoring mark from the season opener. Handoff, Williams bouncing to the outside, drag down. Great grip strength from Joe Lyman.
Well, on that play, Jesse, Williams, he took it to the weak side. Most of the rush was coming from the far side, the quarterback's right. So Williams theoretically should have had a hole, but the defenders were able to get over to him before he could get much going, Jesse.
And a really good effort by Joe Lyman on that tackle, as it looked like a successful stiff arm by Akeem Williams, but Lyman holding on to the jersey and just displaying some great strength to drag him down by the hem of his shirt there. 2nd and 10 after no gain on that first play. Quarterback snap, handoff here, and a smothering tackle. Combined efforts of number 20, Kyle Hudson, and number 17, Deshaun Brown, taking down Vermont's number 20, Roy Rose, for a loss of about 1, looks like.
Well, on that play, Jesse, looks like Roy Rose, he didn't have much of a chance because the Badgers were stacking the box so much. Barely had any linebackers back. Everybody was up front. Got to think if the Ravens would call an audible in a situation like that.
It'll be 3rd and 11 here for the Ravens. Badgers with 2 good defensive snaps, but a big test coming up here. Quarterback Cooper Simmons takes the snap, looking to throw, fires a shot to his right over the outstretched hands of his target, number 88, Heath Armstrong. He was open on that one, Sam, but they just didn't have the connection.
Well, and John Vier, he was playing zone coverage a little bit back, so it's a wide open opportunity for the Ravens to get a first down. That would have been a big gain, getting them into plus territory. Unfortunate that the throw missed.
Unfortunate for the Ravens, but their loss could be the Badgers' gain, as it looks like the Ravens will be punting this one away on their first possession. Badgers have 1 player back deep to return, and I think it's number 16, Shane Bushy. As the Ravens lining up to punt, I'm having a little trouble seeing the jersey number for the punter. He's got his shirt pulled up, but awaiting the long snap. Here it comes. Punt is away. Bouncing short, and an unfriendly bounce for the Ravens, and so quickly covered by Williams. And we will switch sides as the Badgers, after a strong defensive stop, now get their first possession on offense.
Well, the thing with the Metrowest Golden Badgers throughout this season, their defense has still been very solid, even in the games they've lost. One of the games, they lost 8-6. These haven't been blowout losses necessarily. Their last game losing 20-8. They're not having the opponents put up 40 points or anything of that nature. They're somewhat in these games. It's just the offense is going to have to show up as well.
And we'll see how Ray Kirkland runs the offense here as he comes out in shotgun. 1 back on either side of him, 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. 1st and 10 from, I think, about the 37-yard line. Kirkland hands off, and quickly wrapped up is Keith Campbell, trying to go anywhere, but no chance there, as Roy Rose met him immediately in the backfield for a loss.
Well, they try a halfback base play to the right side there, but that play, it wasn't like the Ravens were stacking the box or anything of that nature. Their players just had enough agility to get over to it. Nothing wrong with the play call, just good play from the defense.
A loss of 8 on the play, as I was mistaken. They were the Badgers were starting on the 28-yard line. Mixed up yard markers there briefly. But now it's 2nd and 18 from the 20. Badgers now with 2 receivers on the left and 1 on the right. Again, 1 back on either side of Kirkland. They send a man in motion. That's Joseph. Joseph on the jet sweep, cutting up the middle, finding a hole. Jonathan Joseph dancing around, tripped up after a nice gain there. And boy, if he didn't get tripped up on that one, he would have been gone.
That's a great play by Jonathan Joseph. The defense was single high safety, everybody in man, pulling the zones in the middle, gave an opportunity for Jonathan Joseph to get into wide open space with 1 man to beat.
And it looks like a gain of 11 on that play by Jonathan Joseph. That brings up 3rd and 7, does good work to undo the damage of that first negative play. But the Badgers still need another sizable gain in order to reach that first down marker.
And Jesse, we talked about Jonathan Joseph, such a pure athlete in the open field especially.
So it looks like they're coming out with 4 receivers at this time, 2 on either side. Just Cuba Morales on the right of Ray Kirkland. Again, Joseph in motion, They fake the jet sweep. Kirkland throws over the middle, hits Campbell, and Campbell escapes one tackle and bursting forward gets the first down and plenty more. Great catch and run by Keith Campbell.
Well, the Ravens stay in the same defense, man-to-man coverage on all sides, one safety deep, and Campbell able to burn his marker there. And just seems that the Badgers have had the number of the Ravens defense in that first game that they played in week 1 of the season and so far in this one.
After a tough negative play on the first offensive snap, the Badgers making things happen with 2 big plays. First on the run by Jonathan Joseph, and then on the completed pass from Ray Kirkland to Keith Campbell over the middle. And now it is 1st and 10 from the Badgers' 47-yard line. They go back to 1 back on either side of Kirkland. Looks like 1 receiver out wide on either side. They got a tight end on one of the sides. Joseph in motion again. And they fake, they fumble, they lost the ball. It's a pig pile for it, and it looks like Ray Kirkland reacting fast and hustling to the ball. Cam Newton in the Super Bowl, he is not, as he puts his body on the line to recover that one, and the Badgers avoid near disaster on the botched handoff.
Boy, Jesse, Kirkland just saved the entire drive, but also saved the momentum for the Badgers as they're moving constantly and very well. They keep running these little jet sweeps almost at its esque of Chiefs' early Patrick Mahomes era, 2018, 2019. They used to run a lot of those plays with Tyreek Hill.
And so another first down negative play for the Badgers, 2nd and 14. They're sending Campbell in motion from left to right this time. Kirkland takes the snap, looking to throw, floats one over the middle, and almost picked off, went off the outstretched hand of Shane Bushy and just out of reach for the defenders. 3rd and long coming up.
Well, Shane Bushy playing a single safety in the back. If he was just a little bit to the right, that could have been a deep interception. Could have taken that to the house.
Yeah. And, man, if he was just like a foot taller, I guess, maybe he could have come down with that one. That one was a tough high reach.
Very tough high reach, closer to the defense, and double coverage also, since it was thrown far.
But another drive-saving play with Shane Bushy turning into a defensive there, making a pass deflection, basically. 3rd and 14 now for the Badgers from the 43-yard line. Kirkland takes the snap, goes for a screen pass, and it's short. Bounces in front of Jonathan Joseph as they were trying to see if they could get him the ball in the open field, but didn't have enough mustard on that pass. And it'll be 4th and long. The Badgers still on their own side of the field, and it looks like they might be sending out the punt unit to try and see if they can pin the Ravens deeper in their own territory.
Well, on that play, Jesse Williams and the Ravens were actually playing zone coverage. They switched from their traditional man, still a disguise as they were in the same formation, but since the 3rd down and long, didn't want to play it too aggressively.
So the Badgers setting up, looks like Jonathan Joseph to punt it away. I mean, with Joseph, you can't rule out the possibility that they might just snap it to him and tell him to take off running if he sees something. He does have that capability with the ball in his hands. Takes a snap. He will punt it. This one coming in high. Return man backing off. It's bouncing towards him. A very favorable bounce for the Badgers. Great punt by Joseph. Pins the Ravens inside their own 15-yard line. Looks like it'll be 1st and 10 from the 14.
Man, Jesse, what else can't this guy do? Jonathan Joseph, great kick returner, running back, wide receiver, super versatile in his athleticism, and I had no idea he could punt.
I wasn't aware he could launch boots like that either. You know, I feel like I've seen him punt before, but that might be the best punt I've seen out of him or any Badgers player in a good while.
I bet Isaac Punts would appreciate that.
Oh, yes.
100%.
As it'll be 1st and 10 for the Ravens from their own 14-yard line. And some folks in the live chat talking about how the video is lagging, and I'm sorry, folks. I wish I could make it better. Unfortunately, I can't. The Wi-Fi is a bad connection out here. The Ravens on their first snap handed off, an opening, a big opening, a flag on the play. But Daniel Vara forced out of bounds, a big first down run, but there is a flag on the play, and it's going to be holding on the Ravens. That's going to push them back in a big way. I believe it'll be 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and they were already deep in their own territory. But just to address the notes in the live chat, the video is going to be choppy. The audio should still be coming through. I hope it is, at least, so you guys can still follow along the action to some degree. I am recording this while live streaming it, and I will post the full recording with good video later tonight. Unfortunately, due to the weakness of the Wi-Fi connection here at Daly Field, there's nothing else I can do, and I apologize for that. But it's going to be first, and what do you think that is, about the 8-yard line, Sam?
Looks like it to me, about the 8, maybe the 12.
Yeah, no, it's definitely inside the 10. So
Inside the 10, yeah, about the 8.
Yeah, so from the 8-yard line, they started at the 14, lost 6 yards on the holding penalty on what would have been a big first down run by Daniel Vara, undone by the offensive holding. First and 16 from the 8-yard line. Simmons takes the snap, looking for a pass, goes for a screen, hits the running back, and he stays on his feet for a decent gain. I believe that was Vara once again, as gets a few yards on that one. Not a ton. Looks like got out to about the 11, so a gain of about 3. So it'll be 2nd and 13.
Well, it seems that the Ravens are trying to utilize Daniel Vara in a similar way that the Badgers have been with Jonathan Joseph as an athletic wide receiver in the open field on the wide receiver screen after using him as a running back. And on that previous play, that was nullified by a penalty. It's a good job by Vara to get outside the box. Everyone got meshed up with each other.
Now they come out, shotgun again. Cooper Simmons with one back on either side, hands it off. Rose bursting through a hole, picking up speed, dragged down, but a decent gain there for Roy Rose. And that'll make it a very makeable 3rd down coming up for the Ravens.
Halfback stretch on that play out to the right side. Good blocking up front, and we talk about thunder and lightning. Roy Rose is the thunder to Daniel Vara's lightning, powering through the defense.
Looks to be about 3rd and 4 from the 20. So a big play coming up here. If the Ravens can convert this, they can get a chance to get further out of their own backyard. But if the Badgers get a stop, they could force the Ravens to punt from a tough field position.
It's been a really defensive game early on. The Badgers had a glimpse of offensive momentum, but after the fumble on the exchange, it really stifled them.
All right, looks like we got receiver out wide on either side, one in the slot on the left. Snap to Simmons, looking for the pass, fires deep down the right side. Receiver's got a step, but he did not have enough steps to catch up with that pass as Heath Armstrong is overthrown on 3rd down once again.
It's a good idea to throw it deep there for the Ravens because the Badgers, they were blitzing their linebackers, bringing an extra man or two was a good chance on 3rd down, just didn't work out.
And so it'll be 4th and 4. The Ravens, they have a decision to make. It is a relatively short distance, but they are so deep in their own end that it looks like they are going to opt to punt once again. Badgers simply downed the punt, and we haven't actually had a punt return yet. We've had 2 punts, but no returns as both teams opted not to risk a potential fumble and just let the punt be downed. They're trying to draw the Badgers offsides, but no dice. Punt is launched, and it's going to be caught this time by Bushy as he's going to take off running with it. Bursts up the middle, finds a hole, taking off with it. Shane Bushy's got room, and he goes down to the opposing 20. Great return there from Shane Bushy.
And Jesse, nobody went after him in the middle. He just cut right through the defense, nobody making an attempt to get him, and that's the first punt return that we have here this afternoon at Daly Field.
Boy, and Bushy, with the way he was, holding that ball with one hand and just lifting it over the first attempted tackler, taking a bit of a risk, bit more of a gutsy play on the return than we've seen the past couple of returns, and it's paying off big for the Badgers as it will be 1st and 10 for them from the Ravens 20-yard line. They are starting this possession in the red zone. Can they make it pay off?
And also, Jesse, one of the players for the Badgers, he just came running in during that play on the return from Bushy.
And I do see it's Marquise Hughes, who's now here on the bench for the Badgers, but he's not suited up yet. Ray Kirkland still running the offense for the Badgers here. They send Jean Janvier in motion, right to left. Kirkland takes the snap, looking for a pass, floats one over the middle, and it's caught by a lineman. I don't think that's going to stand. Is it? I don't see any flags thrown.
It stands.
Are they going to let this? It was Felipe Ferreira, the center, I think, who caught that one.
The referees are converging with one another. This is unbelievable.
I
love a big man running.
I do too, but
they're lined up back. Or not.
Yeah, no, I think they're considering that's a completion.
Who would have thought, Jesse?
Maybe eligibility rules aren't as strict here in the New England Football League, as it looks like it'll be 2nd and 1 after a 9, or maybe they said the receiver had his hands on it enough. I don't know.
We know there's a tackle eligible play. I've never heard of a center eligible play.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. 2nd and short, Kirkland hands off. Cuba Morales going to his left, stiff-arming a man, breaking through. Cuba Morales with the first down conversion on the inside carry there. Oh, we got a flag on the play, though. And so this one might be coming back.
Well, the center catch doesn't come back, but this play does.
Seems that way.
See something new every day.
I guess so. I'm trying to look at the officials and see what the signal was for the. Is it the end of the first quarter too? What's going on? Oh, one of the officials thought it was the end of the first quarter and was heading to the opposite side of the field. They said, no, it's not. Oh, it's a face mask on the defense. The Badgers are going to get even more yards on that run at the end, as Cuba Morales got not only a good run, but by being so tough to take down, he drew a face mask penalty from the Ravens defense. It's going to be 1st and goal for the Badgers from around the 3-yard line.
Well, Ray Kirkland's done a great job running the offense, even with Hughes still warming up on the bench, getting suited up.
And the Badgers knocking on the door of the end zone here. Can they punch it in for the day's first score? Kirkland in shotgun, one back either side, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Pushes out Kyle Hudson out further wide on the right side. Kirkland takes a snap, fakes the give, rolls out to his left, floats a pass, wide open! Joe Lyman! Touchdown, Badgers!
Well, the Ravens had 2 blitzers coming to the right side. They left the left side way exposed. Lyman finding himself wide open in the end zone, and Kirkland's done an amazing job here in the first quarter.
Great option execution there, as Ray Kirkland faking the handoff, rolling out, had a couple options, saw the running back out to his left was covered, but once the man came down, he floated it up to the back to a wide open Joe Lyman. So a great, well-designed play as they managed to draw, I think they drew Lyman's cover man down into the shallow area to cover for the running back. That was an option on the screen pass, who I think was Keith Campbell. And now a point after attempt kick is good. Kicked through by Jean Janvier, and the Metrowest Golden Badgers take a 7-0 lead here in the first quarter.
Well, Jesse, the Badgers have had a lot of offense success. They've been able to exploit the Ravens, have play zone. It seems that it's flustered the Badgers just a little bit, but in mere athletic competition in these man-on-man matchups, the Badgers have been winning all of them. Evident there after the touchdown, near close to the end zone, caught by Lyman from the backup quarterback, and he's done a great job here in the first quarter.
Ray Kirkland with his second passing touchdown of this summer season, and his second week in a row with a passing touchdown, as he got one against the NLC Silverbacks in Connecticut last week. Now getting his first touchdown pass at home for the Badgers, their first passing touchdown at home this season, just their second here at Daly Field overall in 2025, and that is the end of the first quarter as we switch sides while setting up for the kickoff. We start the second quarter here at the end of one, the Badgers with a 7-0 lead over the Ravens. The 3-yard touchdown pass from Ray Kirkland to Joe Lyman, and a successful PAT kick from Jean Janvier, who lines up to boot this one away. Goes shallow with this one, and it's caught, and a quick takedown. But what could have potentially been, one of those shallow floating onside kicks potentially was caught well by Casey Payette for the Ravens. And the visitors will be starting with some decent field position here, 1st and 10 at their own 43.
Well, this is the second time now, Jesse, in this game that the Ravens have had great field position of about the 40-yard line. They had great field position at the beginning of the game after the Badgers deferred. Now they have it from about the 43-yard line, it looks like.
So far, the Ravens, they've gone 3 and out twice. They're still looking for their first down conversion of the day. Cooper Simmons, the quarterback in shotgun, one back on either side. Hands it off. Daniel Vara going to his left, finds a hole. Daniel Vara taking off with it. Daniel Vara's got the sideline. Vara still going. Can he be met? Forced out of bounds, but no flags this time as Daniel Vara picks up a huge run and the first down conversion for the Vermont Ravens.
Well, on that play, the Badgers were in good position to take him down. Vara just outpaced him simply. Another stretch play. Ravens have liked those here early on in the game. They've had a lot to the right side, this one to the left side, catching the Badgers off guard in the second quarter.
37 yards on the carry for Daniel Vara. And it'll be 1st and 10 from the Badgers 20. The Ravens now in the same spot where the Badgers started their previous offensive drive. And we'll see if they can execute on their first red zone chance. One back on either side of Simmons again. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff, looking for a pass. Throwing over the middle, got his man, but just barely overshoots him as the man goes tumbling over the backboards there.
He went flying.
Yeah, he went flying there. I think that was number 2, Abdi on the target. But again, Cooper Simmons throws it just a bit out of reach for his receivers. And it'll be 2nd and 10 coming up.
Well, Abdi beat his defender on a fade route to the outside. Little move there, cutting to the middle, and then he kind of came out. Great job from him, but again, just a little bit ahead.
Yeah, just everything you'd like out of the route running from the receiver. You just would have liked him to be, maybe a step faster, or for the throw to be a step shallower. 2nd and 10 coming up now for the Ravens. Same formation, one back either side. They go for the handoff. Bursting up the middle is Williams, and doesn't get much, but he does get a few. And it'll be 3rd and long coming up for the Ravens.
Just a little inside zone play. The Badgers not overly stacking the box, but their defense is able to penetrate early enough to get a quick stop after a minimal gain.
3rd and 7 from the 17. And while we got a brief pause here, thank you to Adrian Fricky for helping to explain our issues with the Wi-Fi here on this stream. Hope the commentary is still coming through well enough that you can follow the action to a well enough extent, and the recording will be posted later tonight. Simmons takes the low snap, fires a pass, has Armstrong, cuts inside, weaving around, close to the first down marker. It's going to depend where they spot him, and I think they spot him past the first down marker by a couple yards. Heath Armstrong on the catch and run for the Ravens for a big conversion there.
And Armstrong, he didn't overly outpace the defenders. He was just able to run right through them. And I think this Ravens team, they really have a mix of big body players that can push through you and guys that can just run around you.
Looks like it'll be 1st and goal from the 9 for the Ravens, as they are looking to answer the Badgers and tie up this one-score game. Simmons hands off. Williams to the left, has the edge. Oh no! His hamstring. Oh, you don't like to see that. Akeem Williams looked like he had the edge. He was picking up speed, headed towards the far sideline, and then all of a sudden he stops and immediately grabs what looked to be his left hamstring as he was still standing. And oh man, I don't care what team you're rooting for, you never root for an injury. Injuries are no fun, no matter which team they happen to, and so we certainly hope that Akeem Williams of the Vermont Ravens is okay.
It's just terrible to see. Hope it's all right. You could kind of see him go down on his own.
That's honestly, that's kind of worse, because that means it's non-contact. That's what worries me, is that this didn't happen after he got hit especially hard, or if he got like rolled up or something like that. This was like he planted his foot in the ground wrong or something, and I don't know, and that's just tough. Those ones where you're like, where did it happen? And it's just sometimes your leg comes down on the ground wrong, and when you're going that fast, it can rip something up. But again, we certainly hope that he is okay. We're obviously not doctors, and we're far away from the situation, so anything we would say would be pure speculation and guessing, and that would not be the most helpful thing. So all we can really say is it looks
Walking
not
on
great,
his own
and
power.
that's true.
Luckily,
he's walking on his own power on the sideline. That's a good sign. So that's good, but he does seem frustrated as he sits down on the bench. Hope he's okay. Hope that's not anything long term. And we'll see how the Ravens handle things now with him on the bench. 2nd and goal from the 10 appears to be where they spotted it, as effectively that turned into a 1-yard loss. The game marches on. Simmons in shotgun, one back either side, takes the snap, gives to Rose. Rose looking for some room, getting smothered and brought down by several Badgers tacklers, including number 17, Deshaun Brown, and number 25, Kyle Mitchell.
well, there Rose, even with his raw power, the Badgers were able to cut blitzing from the right side to bring him down, and that's all you need, just multiple bodies to get a man down.
3rd and goal from the 11. A pass disrupted. Simmons was hit as he got rid of the ball. I'm not sure who. That might have been Kyle Hudson who hit him. It was hard to see. Did you see it a little better, Sam?
Not really, but there's the sneaky blitz from the Badgers, and it's worked out really well for them. It seems like it's more built to be a run-stopping formation on defense, but it's had a lot of success in the pass rush game as well, as we saw there.
Hey, a win in the trenches is a win in the trenches, and we're going to have a timeout called by the Ravens as they are preparing to decide on a play to run here with 4th and goal at the 11-yard line. So a very long 4th and goal. And Badgers defense has been holding pretty strong. I mean, the Ravens have had a few good plays, but also a few tough overthrows. And on that one, just got, on the last couple plays, just lost in the trenches to the Badgers front lineman there.
It's really seemed that the Badgers' fundamentals have just been that bit better, Jesse. They've done really well versus man defense, and that's been the reason why they're up.
Well, here we go. A very big play coming up here. It is end zone or bust for the Vermont Ravens here with 4th and goal at the 11. Cooper Simmons coming out with 4 receivers, 2 on either side. He's got Roy Rose, the running back, on his left. Takes the snap, standing in the pocket, fires over the middle, finds his man in the back of the end zone. It's Abdi, touchdown Ravens.
Abdi running a deep slant to the end zone, finding himself wide open. The defense shifted over to the right side, and Abdi just reels it in. Nobody around.
Good poise in the pocket from Cooper Simmons as he completes the 11-yard touchdown pass to Abdi, as he lost the defense out the back of the end zone on that simple slant, like you said, Sam.
Those slant routes have worked out well for the Ravens. They've incorporated them quite a bit in these first 2 quarters of the game, and it almost seemed that the Badgers got a bit too excited. 4th and goal, tried to overcommit, and it ended up biting them.
Heath Armstrong lining up to kick the PAT and try and tie this one up at 7. Big kick coming up here. Snap ball down, kick is blocked. Big block by the Badgers cover unit as bursting through the middle there was Kyle Mitchell.
That's a huge play, Jesse, especially at this level. Those extra points, they matter a ton, and a great play from Kyle Mitchell. The Badgers maintaining the lead 7-6.
So second quarter, and it's a 1-point ball game. And we got a note in the live chat from Joanna Selikoff-Fricky saying, y'all came back on loud and clear a few minutes ago, and there's been no problem since. Oh, so even the sound was cutting out a while back. It wasn't just that the video was lagging. We all hope it will stay that way, but technology is great when it works, and that is true. And again, I can't apologize enough, folks, for the bad Wi-Fi connection that we have out here at Daly Field. I wish I could make it better. There's no other Wi-Fi network for me to connect to other than my phone's hotspot, and unfortunately even that is not that strong of a Wi-Fi connection. But once again, we'll have a recorded version of this broadcast with full, clean, unlagging video uploaded tonight on this same channel, and this has been a good game so far, so be sure to look out for that, because you're going to want to see full video of some of these great plays to go along with our commentary. 7-6, the Badgers lead the Ravens here in the second quarter as the Ravens get ready to kick off following the 11-yard touchdown pass on 4th and goal from Cooper Simmons to Abdi. The kickoff is launched deep. Going back for it is Jonathan Joseph walking up, now bursting to the middle, finds a hole. Joseph trying to head to the near sideline. He's got some blockers in front of him, finds the hole. Oh, a flag is thrown. I think this one might come back. If it doesn't, then Joseph's going all the way, but he's slowing up, and they might have said he stepped out of bounds. I think they called some kind of an illegal block on Jean Janvier as he is looking stunned at around midfield. And it's going to be a hold against the Badgers, and that is too bad. Jonathan Joseph almost had the hole there. There was just one guy they needed to block, and unfortunately blocked him illegally and nullified much of the return, but the Badgers will have 1st and 10 at their own 35.
On that play, Jonathan Joseph, he just danced around the kick defense, the kickoff team for the Ravens. Again, Jesse, as you said, that one blocker just happened to be an illegal block. Really unfortunate. It looked like he could have stepped out too. It's one of those plays we'll have to look at the replay later on, but regardless, the Badgers still with decent field position at the 35-yard line.
And we'll see how they handle things here. Ray Kirkland coming off his second touchdown pass of the season last drive. Leading the offense again. He's got a back on either side of him. Two receivers to his left, one to his right. And takes the snap. It's a toss to Keith Campbell trying to escape, but he gets wrapped up at the shoulders and dragged down. That looked like number 6, Jonathan Wright, on the tackle there for a big loss.
And he got thrown down, and Jonathan Wright just curved around to get back in the backfield. Another stretch play, but the Badgers have had less success with those play concepts than the Ravens have.
And that's a big 10-yard loss on that one. 2nd and 20 now coming up for the Badgers offense.
When the Badgers so far in this game, when they've had negative plays, they've been big plays. Loss of 8, a loss of 10, and that's been one of the reasons why they're not up by more.
Badgers setting up. They've got one receiver, Shane Bushy, out wide on the left. Two receivers out on the right, on the shorter side of the field. One back on either side of Kirkland. Man in motion. It's a jet sweep. Finding the hole is Joseph, juking around one man, runs into a pile of bodies, dragged down after a gain of about 5 on the play.
And a normal set from the Ravens. Joseph trying to weave his way through, but enough bodies around the linebackers to bring him down for the Ravens, and then the Badgers get back to about where they started.
Still a little bit
behind.
It's going to be a long 3rd and 14 after a 6-yard gain from Joseph on the jet sweep. Badgers positioned at their own 31-yard line, and this is definitely an area of the field where if you have 4th down, you punt it. And we've seen both teams do that so far. They're not playing extra risky from their own territory, not in a game this close. So the Badgers would need a big play here if they want to keep possession. Two receivers on the left, one on the right, one running back to the left of Kirkland. Takes the snap, looking, pass rush coming, flips it over to Campbell. Campbell trying to burst through, gets grabbed, wrapped up, and he's still trying to stay on his feet and lean forward. Got a decent gain, but far from what they needed for the first down. I think they're just happy to not take the sack on a play like that, as Keith Campbell gained about 6 yards on that play. It's going to be 4th down and 8.
And Jesse, you see a lot of teams do that on 3rd and long, that time of 3rd and 14, just trying to gain some field position so after the punt, the other team can get pinned back deep.
And we saw the Ravens get pinned back deep the last time that the Badgers were forced to punt. Jonathan Joseph had a very strong punt his last time, and it looks like Marquise Hughes is going to be in for his first play of the day as the long snapper for Joseph, the punter.
Maybe a way to work him into the game.
And it's going to be a timeout on the Badgers. They were getting a little confused trying to get all their players out in time before the play clock expired. So there was a little bit of confusion about which players they wanted out there and where they wanted them. And so we'll see how they handle things here out of the timeout. Just, you know, it's always unfortunate when you see a team forced to take a timeout just because they couldn't get organized. But after that timeout, we'll see what happens on this punt.
And especially in the first half, if you need to take a timeout, you might as well take it because it's not as necessary near the end.
That's a good point. You know, the value of a timeout definitely increases significantly once you get into the second half. All right, out of the timeout now. Joseph back to punt. And he sends a line drive. That one bounced a couple of times. Return man opts not to touch it. And it's going to be down by the Badgers inside the Ravens' 30-yard line.
Well, Jesse, another decent punt from Jonathan Joseph. This one a little bit more of a liner than his other punts, but considering he hasn't done it a ton, he's done a great job, and he's been a very serviceable punter now with the Ravens starting inside their own 30.
Looks like it'll be about the 26, maybe 27-yard line on the Ravens side. Unfortunately, we have no operating scoreboard clock here at Daly Field, so I can't tell you how much time we have left before halftime as the Ravens get set for their second offensive possession of the second quarter. They went down the field and scored a touchdown their last possession to get this game within one. And they could have a chance to take the lead if they could drive down the field again. Simmons, the quarterback, in shotgun, two receivers either side, takes the snap, looking to throw, fires one deep, and it's caught by Armstrong. That'll be a first down for the Ravens. Big completion. They've been looking for that connection to Armstrong, and finally they got it.
And Armstrong just uses his big body to turn around in front of the defender. That's just a simple go route and a good throw. So he's able to undercut the defense and reel it in.
Yeah, and definitely good fundamentals on his part not to, alert the defender that the pass was coming yet, as if Joseph had turned around on that one, he could have potentially had the interception as he initially had the inside leverage. But like you said, Armstrong muscled his way inside to make that catch. Simmons dropping back to pass again, scrambling to his left, being chased, fires a pass, dropped, went off the hands of number 11, who was not on the online roster, but that's going to be an incomplete pass. And 2nd and 10 coming up for the Ravens.
They're the Badgers in zone coverage, a little Tampa 2 or cover 2 zone, something of that nature, and the pass just got beyond the defender, but again, off the hands of the wide receiver. Near opportunity, and the Ravens have had a lot of these plays where they've beaten the Badgers defense. They just need to convert the passes.
2nd and 10 coming up from the 47-yard line for the Ravens. One receiver out wide on either side, one tight end to the left. It's a handoff to Vara. Vara going to the left, trying to get the outside, but he gets disrupted and dragged down. Strong initial contact. First, Joe Lyman stopped his outside momentum, and then Kyle Mitchell helping to corral him as Lyman and Mitchell and I think one other player that I didn't quite catch wrapped him up and brought him down for a loss of 2, 3rd and 12 coming up.
Well, there it's almost like Vara was doing too much when you think about it. Kind of started going backwards, but Vara, a very explosive player. If he had turned on the Jets enough to get around, could have been a successful play.
Well, it looked to me like he got bumped backwards by Joe Lyman because Lyman managed to get the edge and get around his defender. And, that's the fundamentals of good run defense. Seal off the edge, force the running back to cut back inside where more of your teammates can potentially be waiting for him. Classic force fill spill. 3rd and 12 from the 45 is, I think, did we have a timeout called? Seemed like there was a whistle, but maybe not. Maybe it might have just been the 2-minute warning. I don't know.
You never know. Could have been.
3rd and 12. Big play coming up here. Two receivers on either side of Simmons. Takes the snap. Statue in the pocket. Fires to his left. Has an open man, and it's caught out of bounds, but I think that'll be enough for the first on the catch by number 14, Clay Torres.
Torres, a curl route to the far side of the screen. And Torres, he gets wide open on this play, Jesse. Nobody around him. Again, the Badgers going into zone coverage. They've shifted up their defense a little bit to be more zone heavy. Also, the 3rd and long, more zone coverage is going to be likely, and Torres just found the open spot.
After that completion, good for about 14 yards for the first down. It'll be 1st and 10 from the Badgers 41. Simmons takes the snap, steps back, fires out to his right, and that one just kind of came wild out of his hand, well wide of the receiver, and it'll be incomplete, 2nd and 10.
If that one was intercepted by the Badgers, that could have been just one of those pick six balls if it had been a little bit closer in. So really he's fortunate that the ball went out of bounds.
Yeah, that's a throw that I would personally call a Tim Tebow throw. Unlikely to be caught by a receiver, but also unlikely to be a turnover because it's also that far away from your receiver. It just kind of flew wild because that you could tell that wasn't where he was aiming, and it just didn't come out of his hand as sharply as a lot of his other passes have been so far today.
But it's also better to be far out of bounds than close to a defender.
True. 2nd and 10 coming up here at the 41. Simmons in the pocket, fires, and it's off the hands. Receiver had to kind of dive to his right to try and make that grab as Simmons was hurried a little bit on his throw with the pass rush coming on his left. Couldn't be hauled in by number 11, and that'll be 3rd and 10.
That's been a good defensive scheme for the Badgers. When they've blitzed, they've had a lot of success, as we saw in those 2 plays. When Simmons got it out, he was a little bit rushed. Maybe the ball doesn't come out of his hand right, and it ends up affecting the play a lot.
So 3rd and 10, the Ravens have converted on 1 3rd and long on this drive. Can they do it again? And if they don't, will they try for it on 4th down in opposing territory? No, it's an empty backfield. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Simmons steps back, steps up, fires, going deep, and overshoots Abdi. And that'll be incomplete, 4th down.
Well, the Badgers there in 2 high safety, all-man coverage, so a covered 2-man set from them, and it ends up working out. Good coverage on Abdi.
And Abdi seemed like he actually was starting to get behind the defense a little bit, but once again, it's tough, it's tough placing your shots from far back. Whether it's going for a 3-pointer in basketball or a deep pass in football, play is going to be harder, but that's why it's worth so much more when it's complete.
It's also hard to time it up, especially here in football.
Absolutely. Looks like the Ravens are lining up to punt here from the Badgers 41, so they don't want to risk giving the Badgers good field position. They want to pin them back deep in their own backyard there. Shane Bushy again back to return. He had a big return the last time he received a punt. And it looks like a timeout's going to be called by the Ravens here, as they might have been having a little trouble getting their guys lined up, as it looked like they didn't have a gunner on the near side.
Somebody was yelling. I almost thought it was water, but it seemed like it was gunner.
Yeah, no, I think someone on the Badgers sideline was shouting water in anticipation of the timeout, but looks like it's not, maybe not a full-length timeout. I don't know.
One of those 30-second timeouts, maybe.
All right, 4th and 10. It looks like now we're going to be doing it properly. Heath Armstrong, the punter for the Ravens. Now it looks like they've got their coverage team properly lined up. Snap. Armstrong boots it away towards the sideline. It's going to fly out of bounds, so they're not even going to risk the return, as Armstrong, the lefty kicker, boots that one out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark it inside the 15-yard line. And so the Badgers, deep in their own territory, but a big defensive stop, gets them the ball back and maintains their lead.
And now their starting quarterback coming into the game.
Indeed. Marquise Hughes coming out onto the field. Ray Kirkland doing a great job as the backup quarterback today. Leads the team on a scoring drive. completes his second touchdown pass of the season, second in as many weeks. So definitely got to tip your cap to him for the performance he has had. And he's staying out there. And he might be staying at quarterback. They might be, I think they might be lining up in what's effectively a 2-quarterback set. They got Marquise Hughes lined up as the running back on the left of Kirkland. So they got 2 guys who can throw the ball in their backfield here with 3 receivers lined up on the left. And we'll see who takes this snap. Kirkland takes it, steps back, fires a deep shot, got an open man, almost picked off as Torres swooped in from the safety position to break up the pass intended for Shane Bushy.
Well, that pass intended for Bushy. Bushy was cutting upwards, but it almost looked like a diagonal angle. It came in right in between the two, a dangerous ball.
And that one almost picked off, but not quite, and not sure, but I think that play might have been the last of the half. Looks like it. The team's heading off to their benches, and that is halftime. Our score at the end of the first half, the Metrowest Golden Badgers 7, the Vermont Ravens 6. The Badgers scoring a touchdown on the last play of the first quarter on a 3-yard pass from Ray Kirkland to Joe Lyman with a successful PAT kick from Jean Janvier. And then the Vermont Ravens answering right back on their first drive of the second quarter with a long drive ending with an 11-yard touchdown pass from Cooper Simmons to Abdi, and a block on the PAT by Kyle Mitchell, proving the difference so far as it's a 1-point game here at the break. And we're going to take a break here and mute our mics. So when the sound cuts out this time, don't worry. This time it's intentional. We're going to run some notes from our sponsors, and then it's just going to be, no sound. And then it'll be the halftime break, and we'll be back for the third quarter and the second half of this game. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Cam from Cam's Crochet Creations. I'm here at this Hall and Green every Sunday from 10 to 1, and I sell bags, bucket hats, bandanas, stress blobs, dinosaurs, and more, so come check it out.
Hello everyone, I'm Dana Perello, owner of Diamond Pressure Washing and Car Detailing, LLC. I am very excited to kick off the spring. We got some promos, 20% off for any pressure washing. Give me a call. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Diamond Pressure 101.
Hello again, everybody. Back on the mic, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan alongside Sam Lowenstein here at Daly Field in Boston, Massachusetts. Here to bring you the second half of this New England Football League summer football contest between the Metrowest Golden Badgers and the Vermont Ravens. A 7-6 ball game in favor of the Badgers here as we get ready for the second half. The Badgers won the opening coin toss at the start of the game and elected to defer, so they will now receive the second half kickoff here to start the third quarter. Heath Armstrong lining up to kick this one away for the Ravens. For the Badgers, I believe they've got Jonathan Joseph and Shane Bushy back deep as their primary returners. Here we go, third quarter underway. It's a shallow one out to the side, and it's going to bounce out of bounds. Flag comes out, and I think that means the Badgers will be starting at about the 35.
Yep, either 35 or the 40-yard line, because if it goes out of bounds, then it means that the offense moves up just to kick a little bit wonky hit with too much of a curve and benefits the Golden Badgers a lot. In the first half, the Golden Badgers struck first. Ray Kirkland throwing a touchdown pass to the end zone that drive, which included a pass to Felipe Ferreira, the center eligible play. First time I've ever seen that before. But yes, Jesse, you are right. It's the 35-yard line. And then the Ravens struck back, but the extra point was blocked, so the Badgers still lead 7-6.
And we'll see how the Badgers offense operates here. Looks like they're keeping Marquise Hughes on the bench for now, sticking with Ray Kirkland as their quarterback, as they've gotten some positive plays out of him running the offense. They're going to start with a running back on either side of Kirkland, one receiver out wide on either side, and I think one tight end on the left. First and 10 from the 35. Kirkland takes the snap, hands off, and shouldn't have tried to go backwards on that one as Cuba Morales gets wrapped up and brought down by Roy Rose of the Ravens for a loss. The run game just has had its share of struggles with negative plays for the Badgers so far today.
Well, on that play, the thing is, even though a lot of the linebackers are positioned backwards, they're still able to get up front quick enough with the agility to push him back, cutting around the right side, or the left side, rather, for the offense.
Loss of 7 on the play. It's going to be 2nd and 17 from the Badgers' 28-yard line. Looks like they're going to come out with 3 receivers and 1 tight end, all on the left side of the formation, with 1 running back on the right of Kirkland. Kirkland looking to throw, fires over the middle, intercepted, taken back by Casey Payette. Payette's got room, Payette's gonna go all the way, knocked down from behind, and he's in the end zone. A pick 6 for the Ravens from Casey Payette, and the momentum completely shifts in the other direction.
Casey Payette was a sitting duck in the middle of the field. The ball just came right to him. Nobody in the vicinity as he takes it back, nearly untouched before being wrestled down like a rag doll into the end zone. But as you just said, such a momentum shift in the game for the Ravens. Now 12-7, they take their first lead this afternoon.
Yep, and that's definitely an interesting way of using the phrase sitting duck, because typically the sitting duck is the guy who's the victim of whatever happens. But this time, Payette sitting back in the middle of the field, like you said, was able to effectively undercut that throw, just more like a predator lying in wait to strike, and that's what he did. The Ravens going to try and go for 2 after missing the PAT on their first attempt. Hand off to Roy Rose, who's going to shake off some tackles and go into the end zone for a successful 2-pointer. And so while the Badgers got the ball to start the second half, they started it off as bad as they possibly could. as the pick six for the Ravens gives them the lead 14-7.
You can see Marquise Hughes coming out. Gotta wonder if they're gonna put him in the game. He had an 82% completion percentage the last time these two teams met. He did a great job in 271 yards and 3 touchdowns, all to Jonathan Joseph. He's coming on special teams right now for the Badgers.
Yeah, because that's one thing that Hughes has over Kirkland, is that Hughes is a faster, more athletic player, and so he can potentially scramble to extend a play or even go on a QB run himself for some yardage. You know, Kirkland has, shown some pretty good accuracy on the pass up until that last throw, however. And so we'll see what the Badgers decide to do on offense when next they get the ball. But first, they have to take the kick once again from Heath Armstrong, who is right back out to kick it again after his team got the surprise opening score of the second half. 14-7, the Ravens lead. Kick from Armstrong, similar spot. It's going to be caught by Hughes. Hughes trying to cut across the field, but it's not there, so he steps forward. Hughes breaks through a hole, finally gets knocked down, but got past the 40-yard line on the return there, and so the Badgers will have some decent starting field position.
Well, a great job there from Marquise Hughes, and looks like he's coming over to the sideline. They're going to stick with Kirkland.
They are sticking with Kirkland, hoping that he can bounce back well after the pick six on his last throw. But it looks like they might be bringing Hughes in as a running back here. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Badgers from their own 44-yard line. And they're going to have 2 receivers on either side of Kirkland, with Keith Campbell, the running back, on his left.
Hughes lined up as a wide receiver on the right side.
Kirkland takes the snap. They go for a screen, caught by Bushy. Bushy off and running. Bushy barreling forward. He's got the first down and more. Shane Bushy with a big catch and run there for the first down conversion.
Just a wide receiver bubble screen there. Shane Bushy getting out in the open field. Had to take a man on, but another example of good accuracy from Ray Kirkland. He makes up for the pick six given up on the play before. Now the Badgers in enemy territory of the Ravens for the first time this half.
For the first time this half, they are on the Ravens side of the field. 1st and 10 from the Ravens' 41-yard line, as that was a gain of about 15 on the catch and run by Bushy. Three receivers on the left, one on the right, running back on the right of Kirkland. They're sending Bushy in motion. Looking for the pass, they're going for a deep shot, looking for Joseph, and he lost track of it over his head. Could not turn around and find it as it drops incomplete.
And he nearly had that one. Jonathan Joseph, another go route. Kirkland angled it well to the right side, but we've talked about this so much. If he had one more step or it was a little bit lower or closer, Joseph makes the catch. Kirkland did do a great job there to prevent it from being interceptable when we think about it that way.
We got an injured Ravens player down on the play. That's number 14, Clay Torres. It's the second Ravens player we've seen go down with injury, and once again, we hope the man is okay.
So you hate to see this.
Absolutely.
On one knee right now.
Torres had one big first down catch on the Ravens' scoring drive in the first half. So he's made some meaningful contributions here today, standing up on his own power. You know, with how hot it is today, you can always hope that whatever it is might just be like a cramp or something and they just need to get hydrated, but you never know. I mean, it was on the opposite side of the field from where the throw was, so I didn't catch a glimpse of what happened to him at all. But he's walking off on his own power, which is a good sign.
Always good to see.
All right, it'll be 2nd and 10 coming up for the Badgers from the Ravens' 41-yard line. Kirkland in shotgun with an empty backfield. 3 receivers on the right, 2 on the left here on 2nd and 10. And we got a snap. Kirkland looking over the middle, almost picked off, but missed. Just out of reach for Payette as he almost got another interception there. Just going to be incomplete 3rd and 10.
And Kirkland got flustered there. A strong blitz coming. 2 rushers running free right to the quarterback. And it looked like Kirkland just got rid of it simply to get rid of it without much of a plan for where it was going.
Yeah. I can definitely understand what he was thinking, trying to go to the nearest receiver on his right, because because the Ravens had a guy matched up with 4 of their 5 receivers, but the most inside receiver did not have a guy matched up with him. He was right next to the edge rusher who came in on the blitz. So, you know, logic would make you think, oh, that guy's going to be open. I can just float one to him. But the middle linebacker, Payette, was floating over to that left side and was almost in a perfect spot to get another interception.
And now a timeout by Ray Kirkland.
So a big 3rd down coming up for the Badgers as they are trying to answer back on the Ravens after giving up the pick 6 on their last possession. Trying to come back and even things up against the one team they've beaten so far this year. Trying to get their first win here at Daly Field of the season. All right, here we go. We got 3 receivers on the left, 1 receiver on the right. Running back to the right of Kirkland. They move Joseph out a little bit wider. And now they move John Vieira out of the backfield into the right side slot. Empty backfield for Kirkland. They're moving Bushy in motion inside. Stepping back, Kirkland scrambling. Now fires. Diving catch is made by Joe Lyman. And it'll be 4th and short coming up.
They've been using Shane Bushy quite a bit in motion, Jesse, throughout this game. He's able to divert the attention on defense, even despite the blitz. Kirkland finding his open receiver.
It's going to be 4th and 2 from the 33, so it's a pretty decent spot to go for it and a pretty decent distance to try. We'll see what the Badgers decide to do.
Looks like they're going to go for it. They still have Kirkland out there in the offense.
And it's interesting, a play like this, I'd almost say, you know, try and do a direct snap to Joseph or Hughes and try and make something happen with their legs, given the short distance. But they might be going back to the pass with Kirkland, or maybe they'll try for a handoff to Morales or Campbell, as those are the running backs coming out on either side of Kirkland. Just 1 receiver out wide on either side, a tight end on the right.
Blitz coming.
And Kirkland looking around, shakes off one tackler, but gets wrapped up and brought down by another. The quarterback sack from, I think, number 60, Xavier Rose, and that's going to be a turnover on downs for the Badgers.
Well, it seemed that Kirkland, after going to the option. He didn't have much of a plan for the passing game because the Ravens had the box fully stacked. Everybody lined up at the line of scrimmage. Nothing he could do about that one. And no quick pass options available either.
Yeah, that was a strange design for a play. Like I said, I could understand a play like that being designed for a faster player like Hughes or Joseph, but I feel like that's just not playing to Kirkland's strengths, going for an option play like that. I mean, an option play did sort of work on the touchdown, but just not at that time. And this play working out very well for the Ravens, as bursting straight up the middle is Daniel Vara, good for a Ravens first down. And it'll be 1st and 10 from the 49.
And Jesse, throughout the second half and the second quarter, after the Badgers took a 7-0 lead, they've struggled to incorporate Jonathan Joseph. That's been one of the big reasons why their offense has stagnated. And the Ravens have done well because they've been able to spread around the ball, establish a good running and passing game. And the Badgers have gotten stuck.
One running back on either side, and the handoff is given, bursting up the middle, grabbed, and the ball is ripped away! Roberto Perez! Oh my gosh, Roberto Perez wrestled that ball away from Daniel Vara like he was stealing something. Let's see that one again.
He just snatched it from him, Jesse. Ripped the ball clean away. Ripped it straight out of his hands.
Great vision by the defensive lineman to see the ball and put it both hands on the ball as the running back was trying to burst past him. He went for the big play, and it paid off in a huge way.
That could change the tide of this game. The Ravens have had the vast amount of the momentum the last 2 quarters, really, but now it could shift right back to the Badgers if they can capitalize on offense. That is huge, Jesse.
Absolutely huge. And like you said, Sam, the question, can the offense capitalize on this opportunity, as they're going to have 1st and 10 at midfield? Remember, it was a short field that allowed the Badgers to score their only touchdown so far, starting with the big punt return from Shane Bushy that had them start on the 20. So they haven't had, that long of a drive yet. They've had a couple of drives get into opposing territory, but for the most part, defense and special teams have been carrying the day for the Badgers so far, but they want their offense to step up in this moment.
And they've still had long drives, but they've been stopped at around the 30 or the 20 right before they get into the end zone. This is a golden chance for them.
Nice to see. We've got some good notes in the live chat. Lindsay saying, go Danny. Shashay Hughes saying, good job, Hughes. Let's go Badgers. And Larry Benjamin, a member of the Badgers, not here today, but he's tuning in to watch his teammates, saying, let's go, fellas. I'll be back next week. All right, here we go. 1st and 10 from midfield. A running back on either side of the quarterback, who is now Marquise Hughes. 2 receivers on the left, 1 on the right. Hughes takes the snap, hands off. Morales wrapped up and brought down by the Ravens' number 77, Zach Heyer.
That's a good job by Heyer to shed the block and agilely get out to the right side. There's nothing the Badgers could do about it. An inside zone on an option play from Hughes. Looked like he was trying to catch the Ravens on their toes.
A 3-yard loss on the play. It'll be 2nd and 13. 2 receivers now on either side of Hughes, with Morales, the running back, on his right. Hughes steps back, looking, fires a pass, intercepted. Abdi picks it off, and he's running across the field trying to get to the far sideline, and he's going to be forced out of bounds at around midfield. And all the momentum the Badgers had vanishes in a puff of smoke instantly with another turnover.
Abdi there sitting right in front of the wide receiver. The zone coverage pays off for the Ravens, and one of the things they've adjusted throughout this game, they started playing man-to-man at the beginning, and the Badgers consistently burn them, but now in zone, seem that it's confused the Metrowest Golden Badgers. Marquise Hughes on his first passing play just threw right at the defender. Abdi, a great pick for him.
Yeah, a risky throw when running to your left as a right-handed quarterback. Hughes was trying to scramble and extend the play and make something happen, but does not work out as he throws it really in between two potential receiving targets. Too far for one, too short for the other, and just right for the defender to pick it off. And that is going to be the end of the third quarter. Our score at the end of 3, the Vermont Ravens 14, the Metrowest Golden Badgers 7. And as we start the fourth quarter now, the Ravens 1st and 10 at midfield. One receiver on either side, one running back either side. Handoff goes to Vara. Vara bursts up the middle. Vara's got a hole and gets grabbed around the ankles by Jean-John Vier. But a nice gain there might be enough for the first down, depending on where they spot it. And it looks like they're going to give him the first.
Another inside zone run from the Ravens, and Var spinning around to beat the defender there, but still good defensive pressure from the Golden Badgers, not letting the play turn into more of an explosive attempt.
Yeah, if John Vier hadn't managed to wrap him up, he might have been gone. Instead, it'll be 1st and 10 from the Badgers' 40-yard line after the 10-yard run by Vara. Under center this time in the I formation. They go for a fullback dive, and it's Roy Rose bursting ahead. Oh, it was 2nd and 1. I didn't realize they pushed them back. They were at the 41, not the 40. It was more like 2nd and inches, and they went for the fullback dive, and Rose does convert the first down. So now it'll be 1st and 10 for the Ravens from the Badgers' 35 after a 6-yard gain by Roy Rose on that run.
And the Badgers did all they could do to combat that. They had single high safety blitzers coming in from all sides, stacked the box fully, but Roy Rose bullying his way through. Badgers unable to stop him.
One back on either side of Simmons, and we got a premature jump. And that's going to be offsides on Eli Plaza. That'll be a free 5 yards for the Ravens. As just maybe he thought he saw some movement that wasn't there, and he jumped over the line.
And that's the first offsides that we've had this game. We've had a lot of holding penalties, no pass interference penalties or defensive holding. That's the first non-holding that we have seen, or illegal block, something of that nature.
Yeah, not a lot of flags coming out today. As Simmons takes the snap, hands off Rose, grabbed immediately. Ball was loose, but it's Simmons who falls on it. Kyle Mitchell was the first to the ball carrier, and a little bit of pushing and shoving as players getting a little chippy after fighting for that loose ball. Be careful, we've still got a whole quarter left to play here. And looks like at the end of the day, that's going to be what looks to be a loss of 1 on the play, as the fumble bounced almost back to the line of scrimmage and was recovered by the quarterback, Cooper Simmons. It'll be 2nd and 6 from the 31.
Well, they were a good play to get in by one of the defensive backs behind the play quickly.
Simmons looking for a throw, fires to his left. Abdi catches it. His defender falls, and Abdi goes all the way to the end zone for the third Ravens touchdown of the day.
Abdi wide open, defender fell, and Abdi celebrating in the end zone, and it's all Ravens here in the second half.
That's the second offensive touchdown for the Ravens today, both of them on passes from Cooper Simmons to Abdi. First one was 11 yards. This one 31 yards. And now they'll be trying to add one more to what is already a 2-score lead.
Zane Bushy looks like he's warming up on the sideline for the Golden Badgers. We'll see if he steps in at quarterback or if they elect to go with one of the two that have played so far.
Might just be helping the center warm up his snaps as well.
Could easily be that.
Simmons handoff. A couple players collided. Vara still headed for the end zone. No, he's short. A little bit of missed timing on that 2-point attempt for the Ravens as a couple of teammates kind of collided in the backfield there to slow down the run. And Daniel Vara ends up short of a 2-point conversion, but the Ravens taking a multi-score lead here in the fourth, 20-7.
And it really seems, Jesse, that the Ravens have cracked the code of the Metrowest Golden Badgers. Early in the game, it was all Badgers on offense. Especially, they were able to burn their man coverage. And ever since the Ravens shifted to zone, it's been a totally different game. Both interceptions came on plays where the Ravens were playing zone coverage. Also, the offense of the Ravens has really opened up. Abdi, those 2 touchdowns you talked about just now, Jesse. It's been a great day for them.
And now the Ravens will be kicking this one away. And again, the Badgers just have to find something that'll work on offense, or maybe hope they can get another big return to set them up with short field.
You talked about it also. The one time the Badgers scored, they had it from the 20-yard line of the Ravens. Even from the 50, they still couldn't capitalize on that.
Heath Armstrong lining up to kick this one once again for the Ravens. Badgers with 2 back deep. I believe it's Joseph and John Vieira back deep. Armstrong kicks a squib up the middle, taken by John Vieira. John Vieira running with it. He's got some room. Past the 40, headed towards midfield. Breaking free. John Vieira picking up speed. John Vieira, sideline, touchdown, Badgers!
This could flip the game, Jesse. John Vieira taking it all the way to the house. Great blocking from the Golden Badgers. They seal off the edge, and John Vieira takes it down the sideline to the end zone.
Quick, decisive running by Jean Vieira for the kick return score to immediately give the Badgers some much-needed momentum. They cut the deficit immediately down to 1 score as they will now try to tack on an extra point or 2.
That is huge.
Boy, and looking at that play, you could see John Vieira, quick, decisive action to go inside on that block near the sideline. You know, we saw on the return by Joseph that almost went yard, that almost went all the way to the yard, that, ended up, he was trying to wait for a block to get more fully sealed in, and that resulted in an illegal block. But John Vieira moved quick, cut through the hole, and then found the sideline, and then just turned on the jets to outpace any potential tacklers.
He started out with a little bit of hesitation, and when he found his moment, he took it.
And unfortunately could not convert on the PAT kick, as that one looked like it might have been partially blocked by the Ravens. But the Golden Badgers with a much-needed burst of momentum there. Our score here in the fourth quarter now, the Vermont Ravens 20, the Metrowest Golden Badgers 13. And what a day on the return for the Badgers. Shane Bushy's big punt return setting up the short field for their first touchdown. John Vieira doing it all on the kick return there for that score. And even the return by Jonathan Joseph that almost went all the way but was called back on holding. You can see that sometimes the Badgers, it's just a matter of getting the ball in the hands of their fastest players and just letting them run.
And special teams, that's been the big thing for the Badgers, and you could really sense the morale increasing on the sidelines and on the field for them. Now, what was a game where The Ravens had scored 20 unanswered and were up by 2 scores. Now this is just a 1-score game.
Absolutely. So now the Badgers getting ready to kick this one away. Jean Janvier, fresh off the kick return and also fresh off the missed PAT. He'll now be on the kickoff. He's been right front and center on each of the last 3 plays, as he'll be kicking this one back to the Ravens. I believe it's number 32, Chris Reeves, who's back deep for them. Janvier going for the onside kick there, and it's picked up, and a quick hit there as it's recovered well by the Ravens' number 8, Hector Maldonado, as they were trying to go for kind of a fast bouncing one up to the second level. Just didn't quite work.
Just went a little bit too far and came cleanly into the hands of the returner for the Ravens. And now the Ravens, this is a crucial drive for them. If they can burn clock or get a touchdown, really one or the other, ideally both. Here in the 4th quarter, they could really cement this game in their favor.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line, one of the best starting field positions for the Ravens so far. Granted, their last possession, they started at the 50 after an interception was thrown at the end of the 3rd quarter by the Badgers. Or no, it was thrown midway through this 4th quarter, I think. Or no, it was midway through the 3rd quarter. Excuse me. Snap to Simmons, hands off Vara, escapes the tackle in the backfield and gets a decent gain there. Not quite enough for a first, but still a pretty big gain from Daniel Vara.
And there he gets sandwiched at the end of the play by 2 defenders. You can see the emphasis. They're going for the ball, trying to create a turnover here in the 4th quarter. Aggressive tackling from the Badgers.
Got to be careful, though, and not let guys escape and keep running with it, as that was an 8-yard gain for Daniel Vara. It'll be 2nd and 2. Ball at the Badgers' 47-yard line here. Simmons hands off and met in the backfield. Huge tackle by Eli Plaza.
Well, there, the Golden Badgers, they had 5 defenders up front on the defensive line. Little outside run and stood no chance as Plaza was able to close out the left tackle to get to the runner.
Big tackle there by Eli Plaza as he wrapped up Vara around the ankles in the backfield for a loss of 1. 3rd down, 3 yards to go for the Ravens. Can the Ravens convert, or can the Badgers force them to make a tough decision? Simmons fakes the handoff, looking for a throw. Pass broken up. Oh, flag comes out. Jonathan Joseph appeared to come around to bat that ball away, but might have gotten too much of his right hand on the hip of Heath Armstrong, and they might be calling pass interference. Let's see what the call is.
Looks like his arm interlocked, and it is pass interference.
Pass interference, that's a backbreaker for the Badgers. Jonathan Joseph was trying to recover after Heath Armstrong got the inside leverage on the inside slant for a quick pass to try and convert. He did reach around and break up that pass with his hand, but I think while his left hand was breaking up the ball, his right hand was around the hip to try and allow him to, come around. And that's what they always say. If you grab the hip, you're going to get called.
Looked like it throws a bit arid too, but still very much a catchable ball for the Ravens.
1st and 10 now from the Badgers' 30. Simmons hands it off to Vara. Vara going up the middle, stood up and dropped after a short gain. But this deep in opposing territory, the Ravens can also work to run out the clock as a very viable strategy at this point in the game.
Again, there's no way to know how much time is left in the game, but still, for the Ravens, the more clock they run out, the better, as they're up by a touchdown.
2nd and 7 Now for the Ravens here at the Badgers' 27-yard line. Simmons in shotgun, one running back behind him, one receiver out wide on either side. Fakes the handoff, Simmons keeping it himself, and he slips and falls. There was a defender there to meet him, forcing him to try and cut in, and he lost his footing. Marquise Allen, good awareness on that play defensively.
And Allen was already closing out on the right side if he had gone forward more and not slipped up. So he probably would have made the tackle and would have been a nice play anyways for the Badgers, but still he gets a couple yards and the Badgers advantage due to the slip.
No gain actually on the play as they're still at the 27. So it will be 3rd and 7 for the Ravens, but they are well in 4-down territory in this situation because they are so deep in Badgers territory now. They don't need to punt. You know, punting would actually be a bad idea because you'd probably just send it out of the end zone. And so the Badgers would have to make 2 more stops to get the ball back. Simmons goes with it himself, gets sandwiched, and the play is not dead. Or is it? Was the whistle blown? What happened?
It looks like it wasn't. He could have been still up. Now the referee conversing.
Very confusing. It looks like the ref spotting it around where he was stopped. So I think they did rule an end of forward progress. It's good fundamentals to play to the whistle. But in the end, it was a 3-yard gain on a bit of a chaotic QB keeper. And now a play which could potentially decide the game here. 4th and 4 from the Badgers' 24-yard line. The Badgers need a stop to get the ball back. The Ravens need at least 4 yards to get a first and eat more clock.
It's as big as it gets, Jesse.
Absolutely. Looks like they're coming out in the I formation. Simmons under center, Rose the fullback, Vara the running back. They go for a toss to Vara. Vara cutting inside, and he's got the opening, and I think he's got the end zone. Daniel Vara putting the final dagger in their hearts with a touchdown for the Ravens.
Halfback pitch, Jesse out to the right side. He gets around the defense who were bunched in, and we talked about it so much throughout this game. Great blocking from the Ravens, and they block in as Var is able to skirt around using his speed to waltz into the end zone. And now this game looking more out of reach for the Badgers. A 2-touchdown game rather than just 1.
Yep, and the Badgers defense, it seemed, you know, we talked about sealing the edge a couple of times today. The Badgers had the edge sealed pretty well, forced Vara to cut in, but they didn't have someone there to fill. They didn't have enough bodies out on that side, on the outside, on the far side, in order to account for that. And Vara, once he gets an opening and picks up speed, we've seen what he's been able to do in other plays throughout this game, and that time, a big 24-yard touchdown run. And now the Ravens will try for 2. Snap, fake the handoff, throw inside is going to be caught. Complete to Heath Armstrong for the 2-point conversion. And that'll make it 28-13.
And Jesse, that really puts...
And it looks like Heath Armstrong might have actually been hurt on the play when making that catch. He was tangled up with a defender. Might have got rolled up on, you know, maybe... You know, it is a hot day. Maybe just cramped up. One can hope, but hopefully he's okay.
Hopefully that is the case. And now the Ravens on top, 28-13 over the Badgers. This one not over, but it's looking really good for the Ravens, for the visitors. Most definitely here at Daly Field, the Badgers. It's not looking like it's a high probability that they will get their first home win of the season. They did beat the Ravens In their first game of the year, the Badgers did 32-21, but it looks like the tide has shifted today.
Ravens, after getting payback on the Black Panthers last week for an earlier season loss, now getting some payback on the Badgers, looks like, but the game not over, and like I said, we don't know how much time is left. You kind of just have to guess by feel unless you hear something. We haven't heard anything, so hard to say how much time is left in this one, but it's going to be tough for the Badgers to get 2 scores back quickly before time runs out.
And if they do, they're going to need their special teams to come up big on this kick return. Jesse, we've talked about it so much. The kick return by Javier.
John Vier, yes.
John Vier. He took it to the house. Jonathan Joseph had kick return touchdown nullified earlier in the game. And also the Golden Badgers, they got their only offensive touchdown due to a great kick return down to the 20.
Indeed. We got a couple notes in the live chat from Lindsay and Andrea Glover, both celebrating the touchdown for the Ravens' Daniel Vara. Like I always say, we appreciate fans showing support and bringing the good vibes, no matter which team you're rooting for. Armstrong lining up to kick this one away. Sends this one high and deep, and it's going to bounce, and it's picked up by Kyle Hudson after it bounced over his head, and a miscommunication with his blocker, but he still sheds one tackle and dives barely back to the 20, and bit of an awkward return there, as it looked like he was trying to let it go for a potential touchback, and then when that didn't happen, he was trying to, figure things out with the blocker in front of him, but the blocker misunderstood where he was trying to go, and so that ended up being a short return, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Badgers from their own 20-yard line.
Not the most ideal field position they've had. They've had good field position throughout this game a couple times. They had it from the 50. They had that time when they started in their opponent's 20, but now their own 20, down by 15. It's not looking great.
The Badgers would need 2 touchdowns and at least 1 PAT and 1 2-point conversion to tie at bare minimum. Coming out, looks like it will be Shane Bushy, the 3rd Badgers quarterback to take a snap today. 3 receivers on the right, 1 on the left, 1 running back on the left of the quarterback. Bushy takes the snap, scrambles to his right, looking, nothing there, trying to escape, still escaping, still running. Shane Bushy runs for the 1st down. A big run there, but the Badgers still have to move with time ticking.
What a play by Shane Bushy to evade the defense, and we saw him warming up on the sidelines. Could have been that he was just practicing with the long snapper, but now Bushy, the 3rd-string quarterback for the Golden Badgers. A whistle blown by the referee.
Trying to settle up when the clock is starting, I think, after the 1st down conversion. Badgers coming out with 2 receivers on either side of Bushy this time. Running back Keith Campbell on his right. Bushy takes the snap, fires to his left, and it's dropped. Hit the hands of Jean Janvier, and he just couldn't hold on to it.
Now when it looked like it could have been tipped, that's one of those we'll need to see the replay, but regardless, just pops out of the hands of Janvier. There, a little bubble screen, throw to the flat to the running back, a very serviceable play, and the Badgers have used that play a couple times early on. Had success, just that time the connection a little bit off.
2nd and 10 from the 34 now. They send Lyman in motion inside. Low snap picked up by Bushy. Stumbles, gets back up, completes the pass to Lyman. Lyman's got the sideline, and he's got the 1st down. Boy, talk about making something out of nothing. a couple of spots where that play looked dead in the water for the Badgers, but Shane Bushy completes the pass to Lyman just barely, and Lyman gets enough room for the first down.
And there, Bushy again. The Badgers going to a short pass, and it's worked out for them when they've gone to the long ball. We saw the 2 interceptions. One of those even just on a medium pass play, but it seems that they're running a good West Coast offense, and when they have been, they've had a lot of success.
2 receivers on either side of Bushy once again here. 1st and 10 at the Badgers 46. Bushy hands off. Keith Campbell running to the outside. Campbell's got room. Keith Campbell's got a blocker in front of him, trying to barrel through, and he gets taken down deep in Ravens territory.
Well, Campbell ran into the blocker there. The Ravens still playing zone coverage. Linebackers spaced out throughout the middle, and Campbell just able to get around them. The running game has been a staple of the Badgers offense throughout this game. They have had a lot of plays where they've had negative plays, and when they've had negative plays, it's been detrimental, but when they've had success, it's been very effective.
Yeah, boy, that last run from Keith Campbell almost looked like the kind of runs that Daniel Vara has been breaking to the outside for the Ravens throughout the day. And now the Badgers trying to get their players back fast after a quick water break so they can try and line up and try and push their way to the end zone. A huge run from Keith Campbell gets them all the way down to the Ravens' 25-yard line. So they are 25 yards from the end zone here. Shane Bushy leading the drive from the quarterback position. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Cuba Morales, the running back, on his right. Send Lyman inside motion. Now Bushy looking to pass, starting to scramble. Fires one, hits Lyman. Lyman bouncing off a tackler and gets dragged down, still in bounds, and the Badgers are going to be forced to call timeout.
The Badgers just trying to salvage something with the limited time they have. Again, we are not sure of how much time. Good catch from Lyman in the flat. Ravens still going to zone coverage, and the Badgers conversing with their coach in the huddle.
Yeah, they've got to drop something good, and then they might have to try for maybe an onside kick or something after the touchdown if they want to even have a chance to try and score before the game is over, as they would need 2 scores. But then, of course, if they don't get an extra point or a 2-point conversion after a touchdown, they wouldn't even have a chance because they'd still be down 2 scores if they only come away with 6 points. So they need a touchdown plus something else, whether it be a kick or a 2-pointer, if they want to even have a chance to get back in this. 2nd and 8 looks like from the 23. Bushy and shotgun, 2 receivers on either side. Takes the snap, scrambling to his right, firing across his body. Easy pickings for the Ravens defense. Armstrong taking it back and dragged to the ground. And now he got a little bit of extra pushing and shoving after the play, as this one seems like it'll be pretty much in the books after that one.
Well, a tough play there for the Badgers. Shane Bushy rolling out to his right. We've talked about this, a cross-body throw from him, and those throws are especially dangerous. He tried to make something out of nothing. It didn't work out, and now the Ravens just need to run out the clock and put this one on ice.
I think they've already put this one on ice. The officials walking off, the players lining up at the middle of the field, and that will be your final. Our final score here at Daly Field, the Vermont Ravens 28, the Metrowest Golden Badgers 13. So what started as a bit of a back and forth contest in the second half turned into something a bit more one-sided for the Ravens. They started the second half with the pick 6 to go ahead, and then after some turnovers back and forth from both teams, it was the Ravens who found the end zone. to go up by 2 scores. A huge kick return touchdown from Jean Janvier started to give the Badgers a bit of hope, but then the Ravens coming through with a huge drive to put the dagger in their hearts with the big rushing touchdown by Daniel Vara, and then the interception there from Heath Armstrong, putting an end to the last gasp.
Well, a game where the Badgers, they got off to a 7-0 start, then it was 7-6, and then after that, the Ravens took control, scoring a total of 20 unanswered to go up 20-6. Then Jean Janvier took it to the house on a kick return, an electric play to get the Badgers back into the game. After that, the Ravens got one more touchdown and a 2-point conversion. The Badgers' last gasp efforts were to no avail, and the Ravens take this one 28-13. Badgers put up a good fight, Jesse, but it just seemed that the Ravens had the upper hand in this one. Now the season series split at 1-1.
Both teams beating each other on the road as the Golden Badgers fall to 1-4 on the season, while the Ravens improve to 2-3. And with that, we want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Again, my apologies for all the technical difficulties, but I will be uploading a fully recorded version of this broadcast once I get home tonight. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Thank you again to Sam Lowenstein for joining me here for this broadcast. He'll be joining me again for my next Golden Badgers broadcast for their last home game of the season, which will be taking place the first week of August. So a couple weeks from today, 2 weeks from today. Be sure to tune in as the Badgers will host the Rhode Island Riptide for the 2025 Shalika Sweets Rogers Honorary Sweets Bowl. That's always a good time for a good cause, so be sure to tune in for that back here on this same channel. Sam and I will be back on the call for that one. Thank you to all those who brought the good vibes or were, helpful about the technical difficulties in the live chat today. If there's anything you'd like to say after the live stream is over, you can say it in the comment section down below. I'm going to, run some ads for our sponsors and for the Team Docu-series after we close this one out. But for us, that's going to do it. Final score, Ravens 28, Badgers 13 from Daly Field in Boston, Massachusetts. Alongside Sam Lowenstein, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.
Hello everyone, I'm Dana Perello, owner of Diamond Pressure Washing and Car Detailing, LLC. I am very excited to kick off the spring. We got some promos, 20% off for any pressure washing. Give me a call. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, diamondpressure101.com.
Hi, my name is Cam from Cam's Crochet Creations. I'm here at this Holland Green every Sunday from 10 to 1, and I sell bags, bucket hats, bandanas, stress blobs, dinosaurs, and more, so come check it out.
What?